Well, good morning, all you beautiful love streamers out there. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, wherever you are, we want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am your host, Horace. Yes, I'm back. It feels so good to be back. And I just want to tell all of you, I appreciate all the love and prayers that you sent while I was in rehab and hospitalized. So, anyway, if this is your first time, we want you to know that we are so delighted that you have chosen to join us today. Because with modern technology, we are extremely grateful for this opportunity to touch so many lives, especially as we share these wonderful happenings occurring at CSO Charlotte. So please feel free to visit our website, cslcharlotte.org, put in a prayer request, and subscribe because we want you to know we add our recordings to our website each and every week. So let me tell you about us. Who are these people there at CSO Charlotte? Well, I'm going to tell you. The Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte is a new thought community living an ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. So, this science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes was considered a man on a mission. He studied the truths from all of the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. Holmes developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. He's been referred to as the great synthesizer. So let me tell you, at CSO Charlotte, every philosophy is honored, along with every race, sexual orientation, and physical distinction. We are a diverse, open, and affirmative community. There are many paths to the divine. We may call it God, peace, love, spirit, infinite mind, or the I am presence. But you know what? It really doesn't matter what you call it. What does matter is that you know that this is your power that resonates within you. You do not have to leave your philosophy or nature of knowledge. You can join us at any time. We recognize and refer to many of the Holy Scriptures, such as the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and that's just to name only a few. So let me tell you what we like to envision here at CSO Charlotte. Our vision is to continue a spiritual community, creating and preparing a succession of future leaders who can fully integrate, teach, and expose the science of mind principles, messages, and practices that strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of individuals. One of our aims is to create a high collective consciousness for everyone in this community. And we teach everyone the tools to do just that. So how do we do that? Well, all you need to do is come and meet us and show up on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. for our consciousness meeting. That's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we go to our opportunities and announcements, you will find out more in detail about that. So welcome everyone and enjoy our services as we celebrate this powerful being which lives within each and every one of us. So now, before I pass the mic back over to our illustrious spiritual leader, I want to leave you with this thought. First of all, I want you to know that our theme for this morning is awakening the Christ within. And you're going to probably hear something about that you may not have heard before, because even though traditionally this Sunday is referred to as Easter Sunday, but you may hear some things about that on a more deeper spiritual level that you may not have heard before. So stay tuned for that. And I want to leave you with this quote. In fact, be honest with you, I couldn't make up my mind. So I found two very wonderful, powerful quotes I want to leave you with. The first is, awakening is not changing who you are, but discarding who you are not. I'm going to say that again. Awakening is not changing who you are, but discarding who you are not. That's by Deepak Chopra. The other one is the light of Christ within us is always shining, waiting to be fully recognized and embraced. And that is by Reverend Marion Williamson. And with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to our illustrious, fearless leader, Reverend Rosedale.
Wow, discarding who you are not. That's remarkable. So, with that being said, thank you, Horace DeBush, for being here. He's our operations coordinator and MC for the day, and I just love the quotes he finds. So, guys, listen, I just want everybody to know out here in YouTube land and everywhere you are present, whether it be Facebook Live or YouTube or whatever it is, welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, because we are the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. Today, our attention is drawn onto the Christ within. Now, today we're talking about the truth about Easter by awakening the Christ within us. So first, we're going to open our service with an affirmative prayer, and that's the way we open our celebration services, right along just like that. That's how we set the tone. That's how we make sure we're all in one accord. So for that, leading us in prayer today is my right-hand man, which is Alan Lilly, and he's going to get us started on awakening the Christ within. So let's just let's see if Alan is awakening the Christ within so that he can awaken it with us as well. Thank you in advance, Alan. Please give us that prayer.
Wow. So right here and right now, as we pause to just recognize that bright light that is source, that is infinite life. And I know this infinite power resides each and every one of us. And this is the Christ light that is within each and every one of us. So as we stand up in the morning and rise and watch the sun rise, we recognize that it's also a reflection of us, because we are little suns rising up in the morning as well. And also we know that as we step forward throughout the day, we know that we are stepping beyond our human imposed limitations. We move beyond traumas, intergenerational traumas. We move beyond our own doubts and fears, and we recognize that this infinite power of life that is within us is true power. And we are powerful beings living a human adventure. So I know that right here, right now, I know that we are being transformed today by this powerful message, because we are remembering who we really are as the powerful infinite light within each and every one of us. And as we clear through the muddy glass, the foggy glass that clouds our minds, we just allow that light to shine brighter and brighter like a lighthouse in the night, being a source of inspiration for everybody else. So I know right here, right now, I know Reverend Rosedale just delivers a powerful, inspiring message that moves us forward, that and teaches us how to embrace this Christ light that is within each and every one of us. So with much gratitude for an awesome service today, I release this prayer out into a wonderful world, knowing everything is coming together in divine order. And so it is.
And so it is. Wow. And so it is. So, man, thank you for that prayer. The little suns, beautiful. Okay, I'm thinking about planets lately. So, next on our platform is our reader, Rachel. Now, Rachel is back by popular demand. Who is me? The demand, supply and demand. And Rachel, I love that I believe that she has started the awakening of the Christ within process. just because of the way we talk when she does talk. So, and besides that, because she's doing the reading today. And, our spirits connected back a couple of years ago as she talked about this particular project she's working on. It's a very special spiritual process. Okay, being a doula is a very spiritual process. So I remember, because I coached some friends back in the day, and it really, really brings a whole lot out of me. So, from that being said, after you listen to Rachel's reading, listen to this song called The River by Coco Love of Alcorn. Do you realize how deep you get into consciousness by meditating by the river, or just by breathing by the river? Water is spirit. You'll find out about that as you listen to that. It is spirit, it's a conductor of spirit as well. So let this river be the next thing that comes out after Rachel's uh, reading, and Rachel make it do what it do.
Thank you so much. Grand Rising, everyone. Our reading is Awakening to the Truth of Christ Consciousness by Reverend Rosedale Jones. Easter seems to be so much about a man named Jesus Christ. That's not the premise for Easter, nor is it the truth about the power and presence around and within us. It's a story. And if there was a man named Jesus, Christ wasn't his last name. Although we may respect the fact that some remnants of the story might have existed, there are many stories and many spiritual philosophies that envisions a man that did the things we were told that Jesus did. At some point in history, Jesus was called Jesus Christ. If he truly existed, he was simply a child of light. He was a soul born into human form, learning to walk, speak, and remember who he was. He was no different from any of us. He was born as we were born, and he transitioned as we too will one day. All of us have the same birthright to use the power to be awakened to the divine power. He is not the only one. Each time we rise from the false stories we've been told about our worth, our power, or our purpose, we participate in a resurrection. Each time we release identities that no longer serves us and remember that we are more than our bodies or our past, we awaken. The Christ consciousness is not about worshiping a long gone figure. It is a mirror showing us that same sacred light that lives within each of us. Easter is really about a resurrection. It is a personal and ongoing process which we can choose to undergo. It's not literally about rising from the dead. It's about rising from false stories and awakening to our divine essence. A resurrection is a personal, ongoing process that is particularly compelling for us. It invites reflection and connection, making us feel alive and connected to everyone around us. As we move forward in time, remember, we do so in remembrance of sacred spark that we never lost instead of being in search of a savior. There is no other human being coming to save us. We're at choice for that. The awakening of Christ within is now. Quote, the light within you is just as capable, radiant, and infinite as anyone else in our history. Reverend Rosedale Jones. And so it is.
So, we'll start with a short centering. Relax your eyes as if you are so relaxed there is nothing else you could think of, possibly think of. And you can even close them and drop them into your lap if you want, but it's all your choice. Now breathe in really, really deeply to just take in the words you just heard. Because Coco was so powerful and creative with the words she said. She said, "The river is my healer. The river heals my soul. But when I go down to the water, I feel whole." Why is that? Water is a conductor of spirit. Water holds this profound significance, both physically and symbolically. And see, on the symbolic level, water represents transformation, healing, and renewal. So Coco was really singing it, especially when she said, "The river lives in the moment and it always finds a way." But here's my thing, wherever there's space, the river moves just in that way. Just think about water in some space. That water is going to find its way there. That's the way it does because it's intelligent, just like every being on the planet. Water is a fabulous element. So here's what I want to say about that. When you are awakened to that Christ consciousness within, you can't help but notice water, bodies of water, especially when we are traveling, when we're sitting, if we're meditating, whatever we're doing, being there. The river heals my body, the river heals my soul. But when I'm at the water, I feel whole. So, are you preparing to start to awaken that Christ within you? If so, just wiggle your fingers and your toes and begin to integrate that mind, that body, and that spirit all together. And once you open your eyes or come back and notice your space, observe your space, embrace the awareness of your space, and join us back into the talk, awakening the Christ within. So powerful. So every year, as far back as I can remember, Easter was framed around a man, the story of a man, actually. This man was said to have rolled back the stone from his grave and resurrect. He resurrected. In other words, they're saying that he came back to life on this day, Easter Sunday. But as we celebrate Easter this year, we're going to pursue it in a more deeper truth. So it's a truth that surpasses all the traditions, and it actually is inviting us into a profound place so we can begin to start awakening the Christ within. So let's think about that for a minute. We don't have to celebrate Easter merely in the remembrance of a story. The important point about Jesus really is the consciousness he embodied. Christ is not a name, it's a state of consciousness, or I should say, a state of mind. Now, we can open ourselves to what we just heard as far as that, or we can look at this whole story and see how it symbolizes it within us. How is Easter symbolized in each and every one of us? So this way we can begin to feel our own resurrection. See, scholars, if you notice the scholars who talked all about the Bible, I had to study that and I kind of got a lot of insight on that. But scholars say that Jesus Christ became a title some 20, 30 years after they even wrote the Bible. Oops, I have to tell you that. Oops, did I just burst your bubble? But you know, the name Yeshua or Yeshu was more likely the way he was addressed at that time because of the language that he spoke. See, scholars say Jesus was not his name in his own language that he spoke either. And nor was Christ a surname, a last name. See, Christ means the anointed one. And it means that according to the Greek, the Greek Christos tradition, the Greek translation of Christ was the Messiah. So no matter what we say and do all about these stories, what this is really about is about awakening the Christ within us, okay? It's our resurrection. Every time we have a new thought, Every time we go on a new project in our life, every time we go through a transformation, that's the beginning because of the resurrection we had to go into a whole new different direction. Like that. So you see this as the story until this moment. Now let's look at it as the resurrection, because it was never at ever in any time meant for it to be a one-time miracle, a resurrection. As many times, if you think about how old you are today and you recognize how many times you have changed, those were all resurrections. You say, well, I used to love pizza and bacon every single day. Now I love grits and cheese. But a new change is a resurrection. Okay, so we got to really break this down to the ridiculous so that people can understand that it has never been about this one day where this one miracle happened. It is the living, breathing invitation to come to that wonderful awakening that we have inside of us. See, because it's a living metaphor too. It's a metaphor. It's also a spiritual principle, and it also opens us up to all of this sacredness that we really are. It's a renewal that we have every time we say the word yes to our spiritual practices. See, the story claims that Jesus was the only one, right? You know that story. Come on, we all heard it. But the Bible did not say that he was the only one. We were trained that way because when it was rewritten, I have to bust your bubble again. You have no idea how many times that Bible has been redacted and rewritten by, I'll tell you in a minute. So he didn't say all that. Jesus just said, follow me. See, there's a verse that aligns with that thought that I'm thinking, and it comes from the Bible in the book of John 14:12, where Jesus was said to have quoted, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than me. Does that sound like somebody that says, I'm the only one? I am God, you come to me? That didn't say, believe in me as a God. That said stuff like, I believe in you, Alan, and you believe in me, vice versa. So therefore, then do what I'm doing, or I'll do what you're doing, because you know what? If what you do works, then I should do it. But if I don't like what you do that works, then I don't have to do it. But that's all he's saying. He's not criticizing us for not doing it his way. But I can tell you this, I'm sure he did it by means of some type of practice. So you can think about it however you want. In other words, he just said, look, mirror my consciousness that I have awakened to. When you put that mirror in front of me and you can do what I did, there's nothing you can't do, because you know why? The same power that's in me is available to you too. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a resurrection to me. But I'm sure, like I said, that man had a practice to get that awakening consciousness. So all that fear that I used to have as a child when I heard the name Jesus, or as a child when I saw that there's a God out there that could strike me down for lying, I just have to smile about it. So I'm not mocking anybody. It's just coming over me to realize how funny I used to be, okay, about this stuff. How really hung up I was over it and really intimidated a lot. I used to read the Bible from cover to cover, and I would be afraid to do anything wrong at guys, you don't want to know how I was in my 20s and 30s. Oh, don't do that. Oh, you're in trouble. You know what? Jesus did what we all have to do. And what he did was decided that he was going to live in the state of awakening. And in order to get into that state of awakening, he had to do some work. And I'll tell you what, I take behind that. I understand now that what I need to do is that. So what I do, I take pride in that. My spiritual practices is so powerful for me. It's a habit. And so I get to awaken to that Christ consciousness within me every time I get sidetracked, thrown off, beat up somehow, or whatever. I got to come back and I got to retreat into my breath. My breath. My breath. My breath is very, very important because that's inspiration. Spirit is in, right? So think of Christ within as a seed. Now, the seed was planted in each and every one of us. Now, this seed also contains all of our potential. It also contains all of the possibilities that we can have to do. But here's the thing. There's 1,001 possibilities in front of our face right now. But the one we collapse our eyes on is the one we get to unfold. So if I want to say that I got this thing over here I want all these things, but the one I decide I'm focused on right now, that's the one I'm about to manifest on. So as we align with this seed, just simply remember this, that it already holds everything we need to grow. Everything. All we have to do is combine it with our spiritual practices, and voila, as they say, we are awakening the Christ consciousness within. So when we nurture that seed with love, with awareness, and even the release of all those false beliefs that we have, we rise. We are resurrected the minute we stop believing that stuff. The seed is a metaphor that I'm using, of course, but I'm focusing on that innate, that inner potential that we each have. I'm aware of mine, very much aware, and I love it because it offers me a sense of growth. It nurtures me, and also when I can get a little restless or overstimulated at night, it helps me to relax. Just knowing that I have this power within me. So the truth about this all is just basically telling us, awaken to the Christ within. This is Easter, let's use it. But now, let me be clear. I'm not waiting for some savior. Oh, that's not what I'm saying at all, right? I choose to keep on going all the time and continuously evolving and getting higher and higher. And knowing that the right people that are in my life keep going with me, grow with me, so we will not grow too apart. Because that is the evolution that we're looking forward to, awakening the Christ within. Work with it. And I take my time on that. I really do. So that's my resurrection. What's yours? Remember, nobody's coming to save us. And Christ is not a person. Got it? So Christ is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, and it's within us. So we are responsible, totally 100% of our consciousness and our resurrection. Come on now, Rosedale. Come on now. You're doing good so far. Okay, let's go beyond the traditional story. But we're not going to disrespect it. We're just going to expand on it a little bit. See, the essence of Easter is not a story, and it's not a story about a man who rose from the dead. It is the resurrection of us. It is the awakening of Christ's consciousness within us. And we can all do this with spiritual practices. Now, Jesus didn't come out here to be idolized, if that's a word. Yeah, it is a word. He didn't come out to be idolized. He came out to be recognized, realized, because he's realized now as a reflection of what is possible for each and every one of us. So he learned all the things he needed to do. He changed himself from who he was at 12 years old to 24 years old to whatever he did. But he's also the same person that did what he did, but then he turned around and taught people because he understood what he felt. I can understand, I can totally identify with the man Because of the simple fact that that's how I feel. I look at people and I go, oh my God, she's just not there. But I get it. And I wish they could get it. But I want to share something else about this. And it has to do with spiritual consciousness and the world at large. Let me just go here for a second. I'm going to see if I can get this point across without sounding too crazy. Now, do you know why spiritual consciousness turned out to be a hierarchy? Do you get what I mean? You got to do this, you got to do that, right? But okay, what I'm about to say, I don't want people taking it personal wherever you are listening to me, but there are these men and women, these people who've been in power way before the world started. We had the Pontius Pilate way back in the days, the biblical days. Then now we have presidents of the United States. Well, I'm just saying, those people shaped the narrative of what we're doing. They shaped them, and I mean this, they have shaped the narrative of the masses and causing the masses to continue looking outside and instead of in. Let me give you a point why. Why do people keep throwing the Bible from the White House, even before this man that's here now? Why do they keep talking about the Holy Bible? Because they know that's what the masses knows. Here I go, standing on a soapbox. But here's the deal. Not only do they have us all psychologically pegged, we were psychologically pegged from day one I'm not going to that point, but I'm just saying, everybody's constantly they know how to keep themselves in power, and they know how to keep everybody confused. So what do? They have this conspiracy rant about spirituality, and they stop the masses from reclaiming who they are, the inner spirit, by telling you that's blasphemy or telling you you're wrong. But yet and still, do you think with all this fabulous and awesome science going around in this world, do you really think for 1 minute that any of them don't use it? Come on now. They use it they pit people against each other constantly, but I'm not going there anymore. Rosedale, come on back. But I think you get my point. So let me just go here. With all the distractions that politicians throw at us, fears are growing. But you see, that's what they're betting on. When you're in fear, you cannot do your spiritual practices because you got your monkey brain working. Fear. Oh yeah, this is going to happen. You know what? This is what I say. Stop watching the stock market drop. Stop watching the prices going up, because this is the time for us to start going, wait a minute, what other skills do I have? The prices are going up. I need some more money, doggone. I need to get more this, whatever, what I need. So they throw one law out and they say we can't do this. Well, I need to figure out how to get around that. Instead of going to the friends talking about the conspiracy theory network, we need to be in our spiritual practices trying to find out, because you can rest assured the powers that be are using these sources and these powers, throwing that little distraction up to the Bible to you, and taught all of your churches how to teach you how to be obedient. But they don't have to be. Now, I don't mean to be such a sourpuss on Easter Sunday. So here's what I want to know from you. What do you think? How do you think they stay in power? Are you telling your friends all about them? You know what? I think they're doing this. Because you and your friends got nothing else to talk about but what they're doing. Bad business right there. Bad business. So, are you distracted by all the laws they're putting into effect? Are you distracted by anything they're taking away? Well, again, that's fear. Let me tell you something about fear. Fear threatens and weakens the masses. Stop talking about them. Tell your friends how great you're doing, how great you look to be. Guys, it's time for the resurrection. It's time for us to have our resurrection and do it for ourselves. Now, I have a friend who Well, we've been friends for a long time. And he said to me the other day, I can't only take him now on the phone. I can't take him in person anymore. No, let me stop saying that. That's not fair. He read a scripture to me. And when he read that scripture to me, he said, so what do you think about the witches and the sorcerer and all of these things that people are looking at, and witchcraft? I said, are you thinking for one moment that that's true? Do you know did you do your research first of all to find out when was that even added to the Bible? When you throw me a quote or a scripture, I'm going to ask you, show me where you get that from and when do you think that came about? So then you could say, oh, okay, so it's not an original quote. See, I'm just saying, guys, awaken to Christ within. Not what you think, not what they told you to think, but what you know. It's time for that real resurrection. It's Easter. Come on, guys, awaken to Christ within. Because every time you worry about that outside stuff, you're giving somebody else your power. Every time you worry about choosing what you need to do the next day, your choice is no longer your own. It belongs to somebody else. You make the decisions based on what you believe and based on what you fear. Just do your work. Join us in our new class. Because here's the deal. I realize that we got to start buckling down now with getting into these classes. So we got a 6-week class coming up, and it's going to help in the practice of awakening the Christ we're in, because no matter what you do, you are going to do that. Now, here's another thing. In this class, you're going to learn, and particularly, how sleep is a portal. It's more than just rest. You're going to learn that it's a spiritual alignment that enhances your practice. When you get into that alignment, you're going to learn how to quiet your mind, reconnect your inner power, and free your intuition during sleep. But you're still going to learn how to awaken the power within, because it's what you're doing. It's Easter. But for now, let's just think about this. Even science, and you better know, we're not the only ones reading spiritual science. There's a lot of people all involved in it that you'd be surprised. I can do that, but I'm not going to teach that lesson. Science is starting to say that the same thing that spiritual teachers have said all along. And so science is now saying, wait a minute, there's some truth to this stuff. This stuff is bigger than all of us. We're not these separate, fixed human beings. We are power. Science is saying there is really some big stuff going on. I'm just saying. So realize this. We are energy living inside of a big field of awareness. Therefore, we are not just bodies walking around. I know we like to think so, but that's the ego talking. We are that awareness itself. We're showing up through this body, but what does that mean for us? Just now that the science is really paying this attention and really showing it out, it means that if Jesus can discover who he was and become one with that power to teach his disciples, why don't we discover who the heck we are and teach it to people that we know and care about, that are willing? Hold it. I have a friend, I tell you right now, he's not willing to hear that. Everybody's not willing, but those that are, talk to them. Just like, he awakened to his truth, Jesus, according to the story, we can also awaken to the same truth with our spiritual practices. So we don't have to become holy or special. We already are. We just have to remember we are. Christ is not a name, it's a title. And remember that. So I'm sure that we know about that. So Easter is really, really about the resurrection. It's personal to each and every one of us. It's an ongoing process for each and every one of us, which we get to undergo if that's our choice. A resurrection is not literally about raising from the dead. rise from the dead. I like to say the word rise from the dead because that helps the same language that people are used to hearing. So, with that being said, before I close, I just like to say I want to introduce this beautiful song that echoes this message so clear, and it helps us to see ourselves awakening the Christ within. See, this song has this tender reflection on life, the universe, and the quietness, our quiet time. Because it's a quiet miracle that's simply existing always around us, but if we're not listening, we can't hear it. Now, let me just tell you the planet called Saturn, is a symbol of wisdom, timelessness, and deep connection. Now, with that, it runs through all things. I know you heard about the planets. I was talking to Alan. The planets are powerful, guys. Don't let them people tell you that. You need to stop looking at that. Oh, Saturn is the title of this next song. So as you listen to it, let the words guide you into a space of wonder because this song is designed to remind us that the universe is not far away from us out there somewhere. It is us. It's something we're a part of, this universe, and it's not some mystery or whatever, but it's shaped. That same thing that people claim is a mystery shaped the stars all around that's interwoven into us. So I had to give you this before we do it because I want you to let this music meet you wherever you are and remind you that you too are part of the stars. So allow the song to guide you and listen to the song Saturn by Sleeping at Last. The universe is here just to be seen by my eyes. That song speaks to that divine spark in each and every one of us, and it connects us to something greater if we allow it. All we have to do is breathe into it. And that's all I'll say about that. Boy, I tell you, when Horace and Timmy P gets this platform right after me, they really sum it all up so well. So thank you guys, but I'm also going to give you all a big shout out because this team is awesome. So first of all, we had our MC, which is our operations coordinator, Horace DeBush, and he keeps us all figured out and well done. He was gone for a couple of days. I was going to come and get him out of there and bring him back home. So opening and closing prayer, we had Alan, my right-hand man, who just drops those prayers like hot. Drop it like it's hot. You know, I love it. And also, thank you, Rachel, for dropping that reading like it's hot. You be getting that reading all in our skin. So I like that. So, and Timmy P, thank you for the music announcements and also summing it up. Every time he does does the announcements, you know what the talk was about. You know where we're headed to. So don't act like you don't know. So and thanks also, Melissa, for spotlighting and greeting and always making sure you're here with that beautiful smile on your face. In the background also, I can just see you smiling. So thanks you. And I also would like to send this shout out to Mo. She's out, but she knows what I'm saying. Thank her so much for always constantly sending out our emails because you see, when you put in that prayer request and she sends you over that prayer, it's coming in your inbox. But you really want to make that prayer so that we can make sure that you are shored up just like we are. So with that, before the last song, let's consider this real quick. Today was all about awakening the Christ within. Now, remember that throughout the week and all the other stuff we have done in the last couple of weeks, because it's all starting to come together. So if you want something, and if you want something new to do, get into your spiritual practice and start awakening to the Christ within. Use a metaphor for your life, like a blank page as a symbol of today is a new day. Use a blank page because everything we got is an unlimited potential and it's all unwritten. There's nothing done we're not predestined. You, me, we write, we get the pen and we write the whole book. So get that blank page out and start to remember that it's about releasing the fear and breaking free from all the expectations that you have and people have of you and start living authentically. So with that, see that blank page that she's about to talk about in the next song and see it as the celebration for you as awakening the Christ within. So listen to the song Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. Today is when your book begins. Every time you make a mistake, that moment is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. All the mistakes, all the messy ones, all the uncertain things you've done, the rest is still unwritten. You can never do any wrong. So don't believe in that so much. So feel the rain on your skin, and no one else could speak the words from your lips. So, Alan, are you ready to pray us out?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah, like during Reverend Rosedale's talk, I was my mind. I like to cook and like to bake, so my mind kind of drifted a certain direction. So I am knowing that we are all infinite spirit. We are all each have our own divine recipes. We are all have our own. We are our own desserts, our own pastries, our own creations. So I am knowing that we are infused with different ingredients, like Reverend Rosedale talked about water. So water is mixed in with the flour, with all the different with the baking powder, which are spiritual practices. And sometimes in this human experience, the world wants to roll all over us and flatten us out on that counter. But we move beyond just sitting there on the counter because we make new decisions. We turn ourselves around. We turn our lives around, and we let the spirit work within us. The flower. We do our spiritual practices, and each day we add a little bit more of that baking powder, and we rise like biscuits in the oven, and we are filled with that buttery goodness because we recognize that spirit is here, and we encourage each other. So we brush butter on top of these golden biscuits, and we recognize this is who we are. We are all different recipes of bread. We are all different kinds of cakes and pastries because we're all filled with different kinds of sweetness. And we are all unique desserts and breads and pastries. This is who we are. We are like a buffet, enriching the world as ourselves, as our talents. As the results of our spiritual practice, we all create something new and something different. We all give birth. Just like when we sit, like when the flour just sits in the oven and things get hot and intense. It's not simply trial by fire. It is simply our transformation in the making, sitting in that oven, watching ourselves rise and to grow and become that wonderful and enriching product at the end. This is who we are. This is our purpose, why we are here on this earth. So I am grateful to be part of a community like this, where we're all here to support each other, to become our own unique desserts, to give our wonderful talents out into the world. So I know that as I release these recipes out into the world, knowing that Spirit has our back and this infinite creative mold is forming us together through all of these human experiences. And so it is.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's phenomenal. I'm going to be the flour in the oven where it gets hot. For sure. Keep it hot. Keep it hot. Thank you, Alan, for that. So, guys, as we wrap up our time together, let's actually remember that awakening the Christ, did I say that? Awakening the Christ within is not just an idea, nor is it just my idea. It's time, guys. It's a time. It's the resurrection and the transformation that is being born in this country right now. But you gotta stay awake. Wake up. I have this favorite saying, stay woke. Because you can roll that stone away from that grave that you think you're in. And then you could start thinking of the realization, but then you need that pen to rewrite this whole thing over for you. So with that being said, we can start a new chapter right now. So with that, let's move forward this week with the awareness, with activating all this stuff that we are embracing and we're embarking upon. And then remember, we are here today for the rest of the day to awaken to the Christ within. So stay woke. But remember this, the universe is constantly supporting you and me on our journey. That being said, by the time we meet again, process yourself and begin awakening to the Christ within. And so it is.